Andrew Tate recently became one of the most relevant people in the mainstream. Google Trends showed that more people searched for Andrew Tate than Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and even his own country, Romania. And in just the last month, he managed to gain millions of followers on Instagram. Andrew invaded the mainstream like an ancient warrior would have conquered a city, with sheer willpower and an army of dedicated men following him with respect.
So would you be with me if I'd slept with over 50 men? I'm a high-value woman, right?
Although many people talk about his fortunes and successes, no one talks about the dark truth of how Andrew Tate became the man he is today. I kept asking myself, how? Just how is it possible that this one person mastered so many aspects of life? And that is when I found out about his upbringing. But to understand the whole picture, we first need to understand that Andrew Tate wasn't born into popularity or material success. Andrew had very humble beginnings, and by this, I don't mean he was a loser with nothing. On the contrary, Andrew had everything a man needs to become successful: a masculine father who knew how to raise real men. Andrew's father, Andrew Tate, was a military man, martial artist, and international chess master. After retiring from serving as a staff sergeant of the US Air Force, Emery dedicated his whole life to chess. And by his whole life, I mean even his death took place during a chess tournament. Andrew Tate was no stranger to beating chess grandmasters throughout his career. His ultra-offensive style of playing often overwhelmed his opponents and led to his victory. Growing up with such a father, Andrew and his brother Tristan Tate learned the value of discipline, physical strength, and most importantly, strategic thinking. Without going through all the details, Andrew was conditioned to grow into a strong, tough-minded, smart kid from the beginning of his life. And he attributes the mindset he has now to the life lessons he learned from his father. However, things were not so great with the Tate family in some areas, namely the engine and fuel of society, money. Andrew grew up in a poor home, which is why Andrew was so eager to become rich, because his father was everything but a rich guy. Aside from his life as a chess international master, Emery was a hustler and gambler. Not to be stereotypical or anything, but he was a G in the terminology of Black Americans, which is something that ultimately led to Andrew's mother taking her children to Britain after a divorce. Moving to Britain would have a very big impact on their success, but the effects of this would only be apparent later. In Britain, the Tate brothers had to face difficulties with bullies because of their American accent. Even though they weren't by any means weak kids, they still lacked the physical strength and technique to defend themselves effectively. That's why their mum enrolled them in martial arts classes. The Tate brothers grew up to become professional kickboxers. But the road to glory as a kickboxing champion isn't paved with flowers, as you might have guessed. Most of the fighters and martial artists don't make it to the top. They have to struggle with barely any money, and more than that, the physical pain, sweat, and countless hours of exercising involved were something that the Tate brothers had to endure if they wanted to become good kickboxers. Andrew even admits he hated working out and felt fear before every fight. But that didn't stop him. Pain and fear are only crippling to those who surrender to their defeating power. And even though they were becoming good at kickboxing, still, Andrew and Tristan struggled financially, which even led them to collect the leftovers of chicken at KFC to meet their protein demands at a certain point. The Tate brothers had to struggle through the embarrassment of collecting other people's leftovers because one doesn't become a kickboxing champion when deprived of protein. Andrew literally fought for his survival for barely any money. Winning kickboxing championships wasn't enough for the Tate brothers. They wanted to become multi-millionaires. The lifestyle they had in mind can only be funded by multi-million wallets. They needed to figure out a way to escape the rat race. With Tristan as his right hand and the only person he can trust because of all the pain and suffering they both went through, Andrew decided to learn the deep secrets behind how modern society operates. Using logic combined with thinking outside the box led the Tate brothers to find a way to exploit the matrix to their advantage. With their mindset, time, and energy put into the right channels, the Tate brothers knew that they were meant to succeed in the game of life. This is where Andrew Tate realized through trial and error and thinking outside of the box that female beauty has value, and eventually grew his webcam company into a big business. Being very successful with the ladies, Andrew had multiple girlfriends he convinced to work for his cam business, and that's where he managed to escape the rat race for good. Andrew Tate used men's weakness towards cam girls to his advantage. After trial and error, he developed a good strategy to extract money from simps on the internet by playing psychological tricks on them. While you might say that Andrew is a pimp, being a pimp isn't easy either. In this regard, I would like to invoke a quote from a notorious book called Pimp by Slim Iceberg. Always remember, you be a sucker or hustler in the world out there. You've got that vital edge if you can ironclad your feelings. So even though Andrew involves himself with some shady business, he's always strategizing and cautious not to dive very deep into the extreme dark side of the equation. Andrew once said, "A man does not acquire a full skill set to be told, 'take care' or 'be careful' by amateurs." Andrew is a man who plays in the grey areas of the rules, which is one of the main reasons why he took his business to Romania, a country where you can thrive if you run a grey area business, according to Tate. Just 6 months ago, Andrew Tate sat down with his team and came up with a plan to conquer the internet without even having a social media account. But how exactly did he do that? Well, instead of being a passive consumer of the internet, he uses it to build his empire. With an army of hustler university students, Andrew managed to hit 2 birds with 1 stone, becoming viral and helping his students make thousands of dollars. His Hustler University subscription included an affiliate marketing program. The students shared clips of Andrew Tate talking on social media with affiliate links to his Hustler University. But why did these clips become a viral phenomenon? Well, Andrew is no stranger to talking about controversial things like, if women had their body count on their forehead, it would solve 99% of the world's problems, and depression isn't real. Controversial things like these either make you love him or hate him, which is a great formula for fame. To put it shortly, Andrew doesn't let the adult industry or social media manipulate him. Instead, he uses them to turn tricks, if we use the language of American pimps. A trick is a man who's tricked into paying money for something he's supposed to get for free. Remember that all the time, a trick is a man who's tricked into paying for something he's supposed to get for free. So don't be a trick. You will never be able to buy masculinity. Your masculinity is yours and it's free. However, you need to reclaim it and make it yours, and with that masculine mindset and energy animating your body, mind and soul, you can achieve greatness and become a high-value man. So it's not a coincidence that Andrew is the man he is today. Andrew was meant to be successful from the very beginning. His formula for success is to eliminate 3 specific things that hinder any man from becoming successful. Laziness. A man doesn't waste his time unproductively. You can never get time back. Arrogance. A man is always humble and knows his shortcomings, which is the first step to self-improvement. And stupidity. A man doesn't allow himself to be fooled twice. According to Andrew, discipline is the key to success. If you cannot force yourself to do something you don't want to do, how are you ever going to pull yourself through the suffering required for greatness? We have reached the end of the video. Make sure to click on one of the videos visible on your screen for more similar content.